Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'd like to call the Dearborn Public School meeting of March 10th, 2014 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Adams.
Trustee Adams will be joining us tonight. I talked earlier.
Trustee Guido.
Here.
Trustee Lane.
Present.
Trustee McDonald.
Here.
Trustee Shell is here. Trustee Schoolmaster.
Here.
President Barry.
Here.
Next item.
Next item,
Pledge of
please.
Allegiance to the flag. Mr. Muhammad Abu-Rus, principal of Miller Elementary School, will introduce students who will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Smell like how cute.
President of the Board, Superintendent Weston, Board Trustees, good afternoon or good evening. I'm delighted here to be with you with two amazing students from Miller Elementary to lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance. You can introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Deborah, and I'm from Miller School.
You are?
My name is Salina, and I'm from Miller School.
All right, awesome. Are you ready? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You two could come up here, please.
Great job. Very good.
Very good.
Nice job, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's looking at himself. Next item, please.
Superintendent's updates, agenda items.
Three quick items on agenda items. First, some retirements. Colleen LaChapelle, who has been a food service assistant for more than 25 years at Salina Intermediate, is retiring. Anna Mastorani, who is a food service manager, 38 years, is retiring. Doris Ricker, Department of Special Education resource teacher, 23 years. So we congratulate those and everyone who is on the retirement list. On the budget on the federal level, the president's budget has come out, and you'll get a detailed report, but very quickly, he's recommending a 2% increase in funding for schools, focused mostly around preschool, helping students with post-secondary and safer schools. And of course, the state budget is still being discussed in committee. As you know, the governor came out with a proposal that would give us about $82 a kid, plus the best practices, plus some money for test scores. The Tri-County Alliance came out with an alternative proposal called Classroom and Kids, which would raise per pupil funding in the $250 to $290 range. So we'll see what happens with both those. And then tonight, we do have a question you'll be putting on the November ballot to restore the millage rates of 18 mills on non-homestead and 6.17 mills hold harmless millage rate on everyone. Those are just restorations or continuations. They are not increases. It's just a renewal. Then on non-agenda items, this past weekend we had the big read process, The Call of the Wild. This is a book by Jack London that everyone in the community is coming together to read. And this version of it was done by our students, and they did some of the illustrations and printing of it and making it accessible to people. And then there's also the book, The Call of the Wild, which has been put together both in English and Arabic for people to review. We did get together at the Henry Ford over the weekend, had a couple hundred people come together to talk about this and to encourage people to read. Obviously, we all know the research on reading, which of course this is March's Reading Month as well. So we want to encourage anyone who would like to come into our elementaries to read to students to contact Dr. Chokel's office, and we would encourage them to do that. Grandpas, moms, dads, grandpa, grandmas, anyone, aunts, uncles who would like to come in the schools and read. It is a tremendous experience. I know I got to read to a second grade class today, and they just really enjoy having people come in and read. So between the Call of the Wild and March's Reading Month, it's just real important that we encourage the whole community to continue to read all year long. We know that students who read a number of books during the year, they're going to do better academically. So certainly we encourage everyone to read The Call of the Wild and everyone to volunteer to come into the schools during March's Reading Month to to read. Also during this week of March, we're going to be celebrating our academic state champion. You'll see those banners in all the schools. We also have bracelets at your desk that we're handing out to all the students and staff in the district to celebrate the academic state championship that we received from Bridges Magazine. So we'll be celebrating that. And that's all the items I have.
Thank you.
May I?
Trustee Lane?
Thank you. I hate to horn in on the superintendent, but he brought up a couple of topics, so I wanted to comment on those. And one is a question. You mentioned Anna Mastrani, who's retiring, and I heard a report in the past week. She's a food service manager, and it reminds me of a former principal who used to tell us that everybody in the school had to be kind, and that even if kids forgot their lunches, they should get a lunch. Howell Public Schools just had a student start a campaign to pay back money owed for students who were low income and who couldn't get lunches and who were getting a sandwich. So she's been a great food service manager. She's retiring with 38 years of service. Her predecessor at Stout reminded the principal that a child should never go hungry at their school, and it's something that was passed on to me, and it's a great lesson. It shows the importance of every single person working in our schools, so congratulations to her. Superintendent Whiston, I wanted to ask you, we had an attachment, or we had a couple of bit.ly websites that were on the classrooms and kids, but I tried to get in there and I couldn't open it. So I wanted to ask if you know the proposed alternative budget is going to it's proposed that we would get rid of certain obligations. I wondered what those are.
Yeah, I'll get you a list, because the governor had his set of proposals, then the Tri-County. What
Right.
Tri-County did is said, instead of giving money to a bunch of categoricals, give it to the district as a foundation and let them decide. I'll get you both of those lists that
Okay,
the governor
so-
proposed and Tri-County proposed. I'll get that to you guys in
And I
board
think
briefs.
that some of it was some things that we are obliged by law to spend money on, and they feel should be eliminated, so.
Okay.
There was something else on the March is Reading Month, but I forgot it. So,
We'll be here.
yeah, I know, I've got another shot at the end, so hopefully I'll think of it by then, so.
Yeah,
Trustee Schoolmaster.
I wanted to send out a shout to the Dearborn Educational Foundation, the National Academy of the Arts, Dearborn Federal Schools Credit Union.
Yes.
Those are three of the major sponsors for the March is Reading Month, and somebody applied for this grant with the National Academy.
Endowment of the Arts, yep.
And there was only 77 granted, and Dearborn is one of the ones that got one of the 77. So really, it's a big feather in our cap, and it's a wonderful book, and it's a wonderful thing. You know, free Call of the Wild books and discussions and activities surrounding it. And this week they even had camping gear, and they had, you know, the possible kids looking at sleigh rides, and they had movies and all sorts of neat things for kids and neat activities to get kids to read. Because since 2005, kids have not been reading.
Yeah,
And
number of
that's one
books
of the
students have
reasons
read
that
have
the
gone down.
National Academy of Sciences and Arts have decided that they are going to really push reading.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Citizen participation, citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action who are signed in by 7:10 PM by submitting a blue card to the secretary may speak at this time. I have no blue cards.
Next item, please.
Approval of minutes. Approval of minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meetings. Regular P12 meeting, February 24th, 2014. Board Report 13-110. Recommended action, make any necessary corrections, and move approval of these minutes.
So moved.
Support?
We have a motion support. Are there any corrections? Discussion? If there is no objection, the motion will be adopted. Next item, please.
Recognition and acknowledgements, commendations. Oh, my apologies. Tonight's commendations are being read by Fordson student Zainab Berry. I think I know her from somewhere.
Yes.
I think all of us,
does. She
she
does
looks
look
familiar,
really
particularly
familiar.
to him.
Good evening, everyone. The district commendations. The Big Read Dearborn kicked off this weekend. Free copies of a special tabloid edition of Jack London's The Call of the Wild will be distributed throughout the city. Commendations to the following students who attend the Berry Center for their efforts to design and illustrate the tabloid. Fordson students Hari Akhtar, Mehdi Al-Abbas, Hussein Saab, and Mariam Saab. Dearborn High School students James Hatton, Taylor Davis, Heather Hartline, and Larry Daniels. Etzel Ford students Khalid McDowell and Holly Edinger. Special thanks to Berry Center design instructor Angelo Aquano. Commendations to Lisa Meyer, music resource teacher, for presenting at the State of Michigan Music Conference in January. Her session, Bringing the Concert Hall into the Classroom, was an outgrowth of the work that she has been doing between WCRESA and the Chamber Music Society of Detroit. In the session, Lisa showed the teachers how to use the web streaming concerts to help enhance the musical experiences of the students. Commendations to the 38 secondary honors choir students who performed Kywith Walker's Blessings from the Children with the Detroit Symphony Civic Orchestra and the Detroit Children's Choir at the Max Fisher Music Hall. Students are from Bryant, Oil Smith, Stout, Laurie, and Dearborn High. Congratulations to the Dearborn Unified Hockey Team who earned academic All-State honors this season. The team had a cumulative GPA of 3.16. Special thanks to the head coach, Mr. Brian Dallas, for all of the work with the students. Berry Center. Congratulations to the Berry Center students who are part of the Health Occupation Students of America team for their recent accomplishments at the regional competition. 2 students received first place awards and another finished in 3rd place. 30 of the 35 students taking part placed in the top 10. The team's next stop will be at the state competition in Traverse City on April 24th and 25th. Special thanks to the Berry Center teacher, Ms. Tina Ramos-Craig, for her tireless work with the students during class time and during competition. Commendations to the Berry Center teachers Mike Riggs, John Barrell, and Tina Ramos-Craig for their outstanding presentation made by the Michigan Career Education Conference hosted by the Michigan Department of Education. Their presentations titled, Are You College and Career Ready?, was mentioned as one of the 20 highest evaluations from the conference. This conference is attended by career and technical education professionals from across the state. Fordson. Congratulations to the Fordson football team who was named by the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association as All-State in all academics. Stout. Commendations to Mr. Melvin's AA class at Stout Middle School who collected and donated $95 for the March of Dimes by holding a carnation fundraiser for Valentine's Day. Salina Intermediate. Commendations to the students at Salina Intermediate for their efforts to help the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. The students held a Pennies for Patients fundraiser event and collected more than $1,590. The top 3 classrooms were Mr. Omar's, Miss Ahmed's, and Miss Barker's. William Ford. Commendations to staff at William Ford Elementary and their family members who recently spent some time volunteering at food gatherers. The volunteers repackaged food items for easy distribution to those in need. Food Gatherers is a nonprofit agency and rescues several tons of food daily in which volunteers help to process, inspect, and sort. Becker Elementary School. Commendations to Becker parent Haley Nove, who generously donated a book and tote bag for 296 students at Becker Elementary for March's Reading Month. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you for being here.
Excellent job.
Next item, please.
Marriott.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Lane.
President Berry. Last meeting you mentioned the Henry Ford Science and Engineering Family Night.
Sure.
So I wanted to, but we didn't know at the time, I forgot to mention it, but I didn't know at the time that it was put together by teacher Kathleen McCormick. And although we knew it was an engineering fair also, I didn't know that it was the first one in our district, and it actually made their family engineering websites one of their lead stories on their national website. So it's particularly nice because it puts engineering puts science and math to work, and it's a field that we need students to go into. We need to push it as much as we can. You and I saw that the students were totally enthralled with the practical Legos popping balloons, that they really enjoyed driving. So I just wanted to say that I really appreciated Ms. McCormick's putting it together. It was a great event, and I know Duval also had one, but so just a thanks for that.
Ms. McCormick has done an excellent job.
I know, her
in that
name
building.
is
I was gonna
well
say,
known to a
I
lot
knew
of
that
us.
she put that together, but I just took it for granted. She does such a
does-
great
she
job.
does a
She
lot.
does so many things.
She has been so innovative in
Yes.
getting students excited about science. It's
Yes, she
just
has.
incredible.
I'm
She
very
has
familiar with
a
her.
really good way with kids and knowing what excites them.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Next item, please.
Acknowledgement of donations.
One, a donation of $250 has been offered to Snow Elementary School by Myers Fairlane Green location to be used for parent involvement activities. So we certainly thank Myers for that gift card.
Thank you.
Any
You're
other?
Anything other? No?
Special reports, graduation rates, Mr. Brian Whiston.
Very excited, and Dr. Shankman will be coming up as well to make some comments, but you do have a report in front of you that has now been released statewide that shows over the last 2 years our graduation rates going up from 76% to over 86%. 2 years ago, we were at the state average of 76%. The state is still averaging 76%, but we are now at 86% with Dearborn High almost at 90%, Etzel Ford at 84%, and Fordson at almost 90% for our 4-year graduation rates. Certainly, a lot of people have done a lot of hard work to make this happen. We'll continue to celebrate this, but until we get to that 95, 98%, then we'll really celebrate. But we know that students who don't graduate, what they're facing for the rest of their life, and we know that students who do graduate and go on to college, how much more money they're going to make in happier lives. So the fact that we've been able to increase this by 10 points, not by 10%, but by 10 points, is very exciting. And certainly we've shared with the board, you know, we have an 8-step process to help long-term and short-term increase these rates. And I'd ask Dr. Shankman to come up and talk about a couple of the short-term things that we've been doing. But again, we have a long-term process so that we continue to improve these graduation rates, starting with kindergarten through graduation, because we know through research that students who miss a lot of days starting in kindergarten are subject to be dropouts. So we do have a program K through 12, but certainly these numbers and the reflection of the increase has been more because of things we've been doing at the high school level. So I'd like Dr. Shankman to highlight those.
Well, this is truly my pleasure. Good news is always great to celebrate. So some of the short-term things which really got us to these numbers, but the long-term things are going to have payoff in the future. So these are going to be even better in the future. But some of the short-term things that our high schools have been doing over the last few years have involved the graduation intervention specialists. You heard from them, and they've been in place for a couple years now. This is their 3rd year. And they reach out to students who haven't been successful, and they're linked to the school and the parents and the teachers and bringing them back. That even starts after summer school. We have some students who don't finish up. They actually go out and say, no, that's not good. You're going to finish in adult ed. So they're doing an outstanding job. ASAP program. About 5 years ago, we decided that it wasn't good enough to have our seniors go over to the Michael Berry Center and catch up right before it was time to graduate. We decided that we wanted them to catch up immediately after they lost credit. We brought back that after-school extended day program to each of our high schools. And we took a program that had about 63 students in it, and just seniors, to having a program that has hundreds in each of our schools, so 400 kids at a semester at Fordson High School, catching up immediately after they lose credit for a class. And that's been very successful. Certainly through your help, we've been able to transform our virtual high school into our magnet high school. And if you remember back, we had 27% graduation rate at the at our Dearborn Virtual High School, and now we're looking at a graduation rate in our 5-year graduation rate of 80%. So we take kids who are already behind and are really struggling, and we nurture them with the help of Mary Lois Gass for sure, and Dr. Green and the teachers over there now, Mrs. McConaughey, have made a big difference. Please take a look, and I know our people that are viewing don't see this, but if you take a look at the difference between our 4-year grad rates and our 5-year grad rates, our 5-year grad rates show that we're closing achievement gaps. So there's been a greater gain in the number of percentage of kids who are graduating who come from economically disadvantaged homes. We were able to narrow the gap there. Our English language learners and our students with disabilities. So we were able to narrow that gap by having growth that's greater between 2011 and 2012 with our 5-year grads than with our whole school population. And that's incredibly important. But now we have to take the next step, as Mr. Whiston said. It's not good enough. We need to have kids graduate on time in 4 years. So we need to narrow that gap with our students with disabilities, particularly our English language learners, and it's very close with the economically disadvantaged students. We're very close to where we're at in our general population. But as Mr. Whiston said, we're not going to be satisfied till everybody graduates on time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there was also some information that's been put out that looks at if kids attend our middle schools and then go on to graduate, that even a higher percent of kids graduate. So we'll be looking at that data and sharing that with you as well. So,
Mr. Whiston, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for stepping up to the plate, taking this this is very dear to all of us here, and you stepped up to the plate a few years ago and put some things in place, and they're paying off right now. So looks like we're going to meet our goal a lot sooner than we planned. So,
that'll be good.
thank you. Next item, please.
MEAP Scores, Mr. Brian Whiston, Dr. Gail Shankman, Dr. Kathleen Cleve.
Again, some more good news. We have a report on our MEAP scores. We increased in 15 of 18 areas. The state increased in 14 of 18, so we did a little better than the state. One of the areas that we declined, everyone statewide declined in 3rd grade reading between 6 and 7 points, because there, once again, was changes to the test, and so you see if you compare statewide, everybody dropped 6, 7 points. When you look at test scores, there's really a couple different ways to look at them. One is, when you look at the chart, is to look at 3rd grade to 3rd grade. That's, a couple hundred kids in 3rd grade this year compared to a couple hundred kids in 3rd grade the previous year at a school. The other way, and we saw growth in that, but we also saw even better growth when you take a look at 3rd graders, then how they did in 4th grade, and how the 4th graders did in 5th grade, how the 5th graders did in 6th grade. So there's a couple different ways to look at the test, and both of those ways we celebrate some great results. So with that kind of background, Dr. Cleve will share some of the numbers with us.
You're doing wonderfully. I think you could continue. I'm very pleased to share these results because they are so wonderful. There's definite growth when you look at the cohorts, and that is the best way to review the MEAP scores.
And so cohorts means looking from 3rd to 4th, 4th to 5th, 5th to 6th, that kind of way of looking at it.
Exactly. Our district 3rd grade reading scores declined by 6 points this year, as did scores statewide. It was exactly 6. While the county scores fell by 7 points, reading scores are below the state average and 1 point higher than the county average. Across all grades, our math scores are higher than the state and county averages. Our math scores are up 8 points, and while state and county scores declined. And you have those green charts where you can check on my numbers if you'd like. 4th grade. District 4th grade reading scores are up, as are those of the county and the state. Our 4th grade reading scores are higher than those of the county and lower than those of the state. 4th grade scores are up 2 points over those of last year's 4th grade students. And as Brian mentioned, those are different groups. And the cohort scores, comparing the scores of this year's 4th graders with last year's 3rd graders, are up 5 points. Writing scores are up 10 points. Our scores are 8 points higher than those of the state and 14 points higher than those of the county. 4th grade math scores are up 1 point over those of last year's 4th grade students, and the cohort scores, comparing the scores of this year's 4th graders with last year's 3rd graders, are up 11 points. District 5th grade reading scores are up, as are those of the county and the state. Our 5th grade reading scores are higher than those of the county and lower than those of the state. 5th grade scores are up 1 point over those of last year's 5th grade students, and the cohort scores, comparing the scores of this year's 5th graders with last year's 4th graders, are up 3 points. 5th grade math scores are up 1 point over those of last year's 5th graders, and the cohort scores are up 1 point. 5th grade science scores increased 3 points, and there's no cohort to compare to because it's only given in 5th and 8th grade. State and county scores also increased. Dearborn science scores are 4 points higher than the county and 2 points lower than the state. 6th grade, our district reading scores are up, as are those of the county and the state. Our 6th grade reading scores are higher than those of the county and lower than those of the state. 6th grade scores are up 2 points over those of last year's 6th grade students. And the cohort scores are up 3 points. 6th grade math scores are up 3 points over those of last year's 6th grade students, and the cohort scores are up 2 points. Social studies scores declined 2 points. Our average is the same as the state's and higher than that of the county. Both state and county scores also declined. So, you know, there is variance in the test each year. District 7th grade reading scores are up, while those of the county and the state declined. Our 7th grade reading scores are higher than those of the county and lower than those of the state. 7th grade scores are up 3 points over those of last year's 7th grade students, and the cohort scores are down by 7 points. Writing scores are up 4 points, and there's no cohort there. Our scores are 6 points higher than those of the state and 14 points higher than those of the county. 7th grade math scores are up 7 points over those of last year's 7th grade students, and the cohort scores are down 3 points. Our math scores are 6 points higher than those of the state, I think that's impressive, and 14 points higher than those of the county. 8th grade, district 8th grade reading scores are up, as are those of the county and the state. Our 8th grade reading scores are higher than those of the county and lower than those of the state. 8th grade scores are up 7 points over those of last year's 8th grade students, and the cohort scores are up 18 points. 8th grade math scores are up 7 points over those of last year's 8th grade students, and the cohort scores are down 1 point. And finally, social studies. 9th grade social studies scores remain the same this year, while the state and county scores decline. Dearborn scores are higher than the county, but lower than the state. And of course, there's no cohort there. Conclusions. Dearborn students continue to improve on the state assessment scores. Reading continues to be an area of special focus and is integral to all tests, including math. While we are pleased with our results, we continue to strive for improved learning for all of our students.
Thank you.
Any questions?
You also have the green page, which shows you all the scores by grade, and you can look at that as cohort and compare it to the state and the county scores as well.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah.
Trustee Guido?
How significant is a point improvement or decline? I don't have a context for that.
It's actually percent of proficient students. So that's 1% of proficient students.
So an increase of 1%?
Mhm.
I don't-
Attaining levels 1 and 2, advanced proficient or proficient on the MEAP.
So the state, depending on the categories, wants us to improve generally 1, 2, 3 points. So as long as you're moving in those numbers, you're improving at where you need to be. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It is.
I mean, the ones that went up, like 10, 12 points is unbelievable. That's considerably higher than any expectations would be to improve in any given
It's
year.
interesting, though, from year to year, you could go up in math and down in,
Because
Well,
it's
because you're
different
looking at
kids.
different kids.
Yeah, you're looking at different,
It's
unless
like
you do the cohort.
You
you're
have
looking-
to be
why we did the
smarter than your
cohort,
brother,
yeah.
your older brother was. It just,
in
the concept
in
blows my
one
mind.
discipline or another.
Yeah,
So 1 to 3% or points is a good
that's what the state wants you to improve each
Mm-hmm.
year.
And that's what they look at for the accountability scorecard that will come out this summer. So they are judging us by growth. And these scores include all students in this report.
Yeah, in this report that you have, it does include all students. Now, the final report will not include students who have been here less than 1 year. Because even though they are tested and we get the scores, but for the accountability scorecard, if you haven't been in the district a full year, your scores do not count on the accountability scorecard. So this includes all kids. Even if you've been here just a couple weeks and you took the test, the scores are here. The final report card that we'll give you will not have that on there.
Are the Detroit schools in the county numbers?
Yes, EAA and Detroit schools.
So if we move up 1%, we're talking about as many as 10 to 15 kids. And if we move up 3%, we're talking about as many as 50 kids in any particular
Sure.
group. And that's, that's significant when you're moving 50 kids out of whatever,
Trustee Lane?
1,400 maybe.
Do we have any, one thing that just frustrates me terribly is that we make progress, as we did at Edsel Ford and maybe other schools, but we get a bad overall mark when there are groups that don't progress enough, or there's too big of a gap between high and low achieving. So I wonder, do we have any problems like that buried within all of these numbers? Because I see most of the schools are,
Yeah, each school is now digging through those
Oh,
numbers
okay,
to look
all
at
right.
their top 30%, their bottom 30%, look at their ELL, look at their economic disadvantage.
So we just
don't have that
we don't know
detailed
yet.
report
We don't
that
have
each school
that much
is
detail,
going through.
but, we do receive like a district aggregate student file and individual buildings, and we can filter by all those subgroups and get those numbers.
So we'll know that more in the next 30 days.
and Superintendent Whiston, is the non-testing of students who are here less than a year, is that something new?
No, they do test them, so even if you're
I
only
mean,
here.
non-reporting, sorry.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I think that's always been that way. I'm not sure we've always reported it to you that way, but the state, as part of the accountability scorecard in the last few years, do not include them.
I mean,
And I
that's,
don't think
that's just a problem for kids when they're moving a lot. And
Right.
we've had presentations before where we talk about as many as 10% of our children moving in, moving out.
Oh, it's, at some schools, it's
just-
20, 30%.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that that would be an indicator of problems. So I'm glad that they're not being reported, because that kind of turmoil in a child's life.
And you'll
it's
be
a
able to
lot of-
compare this chart to that chart in a
Okay.
few weeks from now.
Good, okay, thank you.
Trustee Schellis?
When do they take this test? What month?
They took it in October.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was just curious because I was looking at Edsel Ford's numbers on what a traumatic jump to go from 20 to 29. I mean, that's huge, and I know they've been working so hard. But I didn't know, if there was any correlation here, if it was enough time, or perhaps it was just the whole pants on fire, we need to take this serious, that may have helped that situation.
I know that Salina did work with Edsel Ford in social studies, and they made sure that they did a good review there. The scores will go back to Salina and the other feeder schools, Snow and some of the other are
But I think
stout.
if you'd been in Etzel during this testing window or currently last week, when they took the
Yeah.
MME, you would have really felt the pride
Seriousness,
and the
yeah.
seriousness of it.
That's why I'm wondering that, a lot of these kids go into these tests and they don't
It's not
have any
important.
skin in the game. It doesn't mean anything. They're just being teenagers, and it's difficult when, we try to explain that it's serious and, anytime you try to explain to a 15-year-old that something is serious, if it doesn't involve them personally, then it's difficult to motivate them. So I know that they've been working really hard and not just physically, but just emotionally prepping everybody for how important this is. And I think that it's obviously taken an effect. That's a tremendous jump, and I'm impressed and proud of them.
And all students are required to take ninth grade social studies, including the newcomers, which we
Right.
have quite a few, with 0 English. They're required to take the test.
Yeah.
So combined with language and not knowing American social studies, here they are
Yeah.
taking the Michigan social studies test, required.
Perfect sense.
Math and science also is required.
Well, I've always found it interesting when we got dinged because our limited English proficient students didn't score high enough in English.
And yet they say that.
Well, because, the way I look at it is if they did score high enough
They
in
wouldn't be in
English,
the
they wouldn't be
program.
classified as limited English
It's
proficients
like the
anymore.
class that
But
belongs to
I
no
work on
class.
common sense, and I know Lansing doesn't, so.
Zenon's parable, or
After one
Trustee
year,
Lane, you had a question?
Well, I just wonder, I think I heard correctly, didn't I, that these students took this test in October and we get the results in March?
That way we can promulgate change.
Yeah, exactly. Does anybody find that 5 months to be kind of a long time to get results when aren't these just fed through computers? I mean, the tabulation.
The
how-
state did change the BOS Secure site, so I'm thinking they had some issues with collecting the data.
Well, one issue that we have is that we don't get things timely.
Right.
I mean,
And they
how-
are looking
how are
to
you
change
supposed to
that.
do
They are looking at moving, of course, right now, we don't know what tests we're giving next year.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know that, right? That all the
That
tests
is
are up
true.
in the air for next year. But theoretically, if we have a test to give, it's supposed to be moved to the
To
second
the
part.
spring of
to the
2000.
spring,
I talked to the
And then
state
get the results
coordinators today.
back sooner.
They said, we are giving a test in 2015, in the spring. Which
Great.
one it is, we're
We don't know.
basically under the mercy of the legislature until that decision is made.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, there's part of the problem right there. It shouldn't be the Michigan legislature deciding that kind of stuff anyway, so it's just ridiculous.
I'd like to recognize our writing teachers. Holy cow, I mean, we're 20% above the state average on writing with many,
9,500
language.
ELLs.
Yes. And that's a huge number, and somebody's doing a great job in teaching writing.
Well, I think that this board challenged us to do that a few years ago when you were seeing some writing samples of our students, and you challenged us, and we have implemented some new programs, reading and writing across the curriculum. You go into a lot of our gym classes and they're writing,
And
in
it's
gym, art,
consistent
music.
every
it's
single day
Every
they're
subject,
writing.
every day, we're trying to,
State 15.
reading and writing across the curriculum, and reading and writing.
Significant.
So
It's
it
making
makes
a
a difference.
difference.
Yes, so, Daily 5 and other things.
Kudos to our teachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You happy with those numbers, Trustee Guido?
No, we will never be happy, but they're
know.
getting better.
Happy with them, we want to get better. but
Right.
We're satisfied today.
Satisfied today.
We're growing.
Unhappy tomorrow.
What have you done for me lately?
I know.
Thank you to all of our teachers for helping us get these girls.
Of course, yes, thank you. Next report?
5-year Collegiate Academy update, Mr. Brian Whiston, Dr. Gail Shankman.
So we do want to give you a report and hear from some of our students and parents on the first class of our Collegiate Academy, and then I have some things I'll share with you at the end. Dr. Schenkman.
All right, well, thank you to everybody for making this possible. So students in the Dearborn Public Schools can stay at their home high school and get 2 years of a college education at the same time. This is our first class, and this is your first semester report on how's it going. So we're very lucky to have students and parents and Robin Armstrong, our counselor, here. So just a little refresher for some. This, remember, is a partnership with Henry Ford Community College, and our students receive these 5 years, or our 5-year plan from 9th grade to 13th grade, and are able to take anything at Henry Ford Community College, major in whatever they'd like, and our focus is being able to transfer at no cost to their parents or themselves. And that includes books and tuition and fees. And at the same time, of course, they'll be finishing college, community college, in 1 year after graduation instead of 2 years that it would ordinarily take. While we recognize that we are the leaders in the state in dual enrollment with 1,900 or so seats per semester, that didn't allow our students to graduate with both an associate's degree and a diploma, where this does. So very excited about the program, and without further ado, I want to introduce Robin Armstrong, and Miss Armstrong is our Collegiate Academy counselor.
Click. Thank you. Thank you so much. I believe at this time, before I begin, we're going to show you a video to show you how excited our students and our parents are. And so please pay attention just for a short clip, about 2.5 minutes, to let you know what we're doing. Thank you.
Well, my mom works for the airlines, and so she transferred to Michigan. She heard from a fellow employee that they were going to start doing this program, and my mom immediately decides, I'm sending my kids there.
They get to do things that other students don't get to experience.
I am taking Arabic, French.
Kind of get involved with college to open doors and get better opportunities that most students don't have.
German at Etzelforen.
Because I wanted a good transition from high school to college, and it helps us decide what we actually want to do.
And then I am taking Mandarin.
We could do 2 years of college and also go to high school, and they will work with us to help balance that. And also we would get our associate's degree around the time we graduated.
He'll be 18 when he gets his associates. He'll be finished with a bachelor's at 20. So he's like way ahead of the game.
The pure fact that it can save you a year or two alone is great. Save you $20,000, $30,000, even better.
If you have the opportunity, you should take it, especially when you're saving so much money.
They get everything for free. This program for 2 years for free. No financial aid. You don't have to buy books.
The best part of the program is it's free.
It's an awesome program. My son is loving it. It's paid for, so there's nothing more that we could ask for.
Yeah, it's definitely good being able to play sports still. Like, I'm a high school student, I'm just in college. I'm cool like that.
I was afraid, when I got into this program, that I was going to be missing out on social stuff because I had less hours at the high school. But I realized that doesn't really affect you at all.
So it really frees up some time.
As far as scheduling and functions at school, your student can continue to be in sports, prom.
And I was able to make varsity, and I really wanted to continue doing that throughout my whole high school career. So I really wanted to make sure I could still do that because my team relies on me. So.
I'm 17, I'm younger than them, and I'm explaining something to them. It just makes me feel a bit better about myself.
You're taking a bunch of high school kids that are ready to get their life started, and you're just putting them on the right path.
It puts you ahead of the game, and it just helps to jumpstart your life.
Be thankful. I am really thankful.
No, I can't see me looking back and feeling good about missing out on such an opportunity.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You'll hear from some of those parents and students today. So thank you so much for having the opportunity to let you know a little bit about the awesome class we have there. As you'll notice that we have 62 students currently in the program. Very excited, and as I said, you'll be seeing them in just a little bit. Our average GPA after the first semester is a very commendable 3.29, and 52 students earned a 3.0 or better, and 9 of those students actually earned a 4.0 or better. All of our students also successfully completed their first class, which was College 101. This is our second semester in the program, and our students are currently taking 2 classes, and that would be a political science class and a humanities class. And they are all enrolled in that, anticipating their senior year, where they will take 12 credits in college and 1 class at the high school. Right now, we're in the process of doing the Compass test to look at proper math placement for our students, and they are looking at potential majors and selecting their classes for the upcoming semester. One of the things that we're very excited about is our upcoming trip to Washington, D.C. There is a national conference called the MCNC. It's a conference that brings students together from middle colleges and early colleges like ours to talk about their programs and to do a few little extra things, and I'm going to let Brendan McDonald acknowledge that. But we opened this up to not only our Collegiate Academy students, but also students at our early college. And so we are taking 3 students this year, and very excited to be doing that. It's very important, we know, with this program to not only work with the students that we have, but to let everybody else in Dearborn know the amazing program we have. And so not just concentrating on the incoming students coming in, our current 10th graders, but also letting students and parents around the district know. So we are doing presentations at all of the middle schools and all of the high schools to make sure that the parents and the students can ask any questions and hear more about this amazing program. And finally, we are holding informational meetings after we get the plan test scores of our current 10th graders, and that should happen in about 6 weeks. We just took the test last week. So at this time, I would like to introduce, and we'll start off with our parents, Mrs. Mohammed, who has a son at Fordson, Mrs. Baydoun, also from Fordson, and Mr. Moradian, who has a daughter at Dearborn High School. And also, even though she's not on the agenda, Mrs. McDonald, who has a son at Etzelford.
Parents could come up, yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mrs. Muhammad, and my son Amr Muhammad, he joined the Collegiate Academy, the 5-year program. We're so happy with this program. I think it's a unique program. He's going to get his certificate diploma. At the same time, he will get an associate degree. He get to experience both. He gets to go to high school, and at the same time, he gets to go to, Henry Ford College. So it's excited. Thank you very much, whoever came up with this program. So thankful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Really. Thank you. You should sing. I'm always talking about this program. I'm like the number one. The other day we had a gathering. I'm just talking. They couldn't shut me up. Thank you very much. Yes, I am. Thank you. And I'm calling everyone who I know who is in the 10th graders. And I told them the plan test is coming. You better study for it, review, and pass it. And if you guys pass it, you owe me like a dinner or lunch or something. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Might I ask what your son is? Does your son know what he wants to study?
I think he wants to be in the medical field. He's exposed into a lot of hospitals and stuff, and I think he wants, he has a special condition, and I think he wants to join that route. And I think he's good. He's a brave boy. I think he will be great.
I just want to say thank you very much for spreading the word, because we do want this program to grow. It's an outstanding program, and we need parents to tell other parents about what a great benefit it is for our students. So thank you.
I am, and I told them it's a new baby born, and no one knows about it, and they miss things, like, when they go around the school and what Miss Armstrong said. So they don't get to know but me, because we experienced it, and my son, he's in it. So I get to tell them more, and I, explain to them more.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Miriam Baydoun. My son, Michael Baydoun, is in the program. He's at Dearborn High, and we're really fortunate to have this program. And like you just said, actually a lot of people don't know much about the program. And it really is, they think, oh, your student's at the college all day, like early college, and it's not. He's still participating, he's still at the school, he still gets to join everything he would have if he was still at the high school. And it's paid for, so honestly, it's just a wonderful program. I feel like my son's become more mature. He's with older students. He's learning how to be an adult. So I feel like he's got the upper edge. and we're really happy that he's in the program.
Thank you for sharing
So
that.
thank you.
Good evening, I'm Greg Moradian, and my daughter Emma, who goes to Dearborn High, is in the program, and it's been a totally positive experience thus far. First semester, having that intro to college, boy, I wish I had that when I was in college, so you didn't have to learn the hard way. Anyway, I just, I want to thank the administration for having the vision of this, and I know something like this does not become a success with a lot of hard work in the background, so I really commend all of you who have been involved in that. Also, I'm very appreciative of Robin Armstrong. She's doing a fantastic job. I don't think a program like this can be successful without having a dedicated counselor. In fact, I'm sure it would not be a success. So whoever made that decision to hire her for that job, kudos to you. That was Joe again. Good job, Joe. You're hitting home runs there. So I think this program is just going to be a drawing point to Dearborn, to the Dearborn community in the neighborhoods. I think once word gets out to other cities, it'll be just a draw for people to move in, and hopefully we'll even improve property values and all that. Well, time will tell. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
With
Trustee
the
Shellis?
cost of, I just wanted to say that, when this program, the idea of this program first came about, as a parent, I thought about it because it's different, and it's not just different because the kids are going to college, but the concept of spending 5 years in high school in order to go to college. And that is the one thing that all parents have in common is that they went to high school. And so they know what high school is supposed to be like, and they want their kids to experience high school the same way they experienced high school. And so committing to being in high school for 5 years is a scary concept. It's a lot of change. And I think that having parents like this speak about the program make it that much more acceptable and real. And we could have academics come up here and talk, and counselors talk and speak, but until they hear from somebody who's experienced it and is accepting of it and has success in it, I think that that's what's the most important thing about getting the program jump-started.
I couldn't agree with you more. Before, I'm going to have the students come up and speak as well.
Trustee Lane,
But
do you have a question? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I wanted to draw your attention to the window clings that we designed, and you'll notice the logo on there. This was designed by a student through a contest to represent our Collegiate Academy, and you'll notice the 3 triangles in the center represent the home high school's colors, but you'll see it's bordered by the Henry Ford Community College and represents the partnership to bring all the schools together and represent that. So I did want to bring that up. At this time, I would also like to bring up DeAndre Smith, a student from Fordson, Brendan McDonald, a student from Edsel Ford, and Emma Moradian, a student from Dearborn High School.
Yeah, Trustee Berry, I was just going to say, with the cost of higher education, it's really a great move by our district. It really will be beneficial to everybody.
Yes, I could have filled this room up with appreciative parents and students. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Wait, were you the I'm cool like that? I'm going to have to use that one.
Okay, that's fine. Good afternoon. My name is DeAndre Smith. I am a junior at Fordson High School. I would like to start off by saying thank you for this opportunity and this experience to be in the Collegiate Academy. It's just a wonderful thing that's opened so many doors for me. Having a great counselor like Ms. Armstrong over here, I've learned so many things. It's matured me to another level, I feel that I myself am more ready for college, and that through this program, honestly, there's no limits. I can do anything, really. The fact that it's free kind of takes a burden off my shoulders, off my mom's shoulders, having to give me a college tuition. But yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great experience.
Thank you.
So can I ask if you know what you would like to study when you're...
At the moment, I'm kind of undecisive, just kind of taking it one step at a time. But I'm sure when I get there, when I find out what I want to do, this program will have it for me ready.
Good.
Hi, I'm Emma. I really enjoy this program because I get to leave school early.
That's good.
I like being treated with more responsibility. I feel like more mature, getting to go to my college classes, and I feel like it really helps me, like the learning that I'm doing in those classes helps me with my high school classes too. I just think it's a really good opportunity for me to help prepare me for when I go on to college after this. So I just love the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And what are you going to study?
I don't know.
Hi, I'm Brendan McDonald. I'm actually up here to talk about the upcoming trip to Washington, D.C. We are doing two things over there. We are going to talk to a bunch of other high school students that are doing the same project as us. What they were doing was we were deciding on what to research, different issues going on with our society. Ours specifically was teen suicide rates and depression rates. What we're doing is we're going to Washington, D.C. at a big conference to discuss the different issues and what we're doing about them in our schools and hometown. The second thing we're doing over there is to talk to Congressman Dingell about expanding funding for the Collegiate Academy programs, and to thank him, of course, for supporting us all the way, because we know he's very supportive of the education, and especially in Michigan. So,
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add, thank you, students, for being here. I appreciate it. That we do have some publicity posters that we'll be sending out to all the schools, our business community, our realtors, to try to get information more out there. Dr. Shankman and I and Robin, we've done letters to parents, we've done phone calls to parents, we're going to schools to meet with parents and students, but we want to get the word out there. So this is a poster that you'll see in our schools, hopefully in our business community, maybe some realtors' offices and the like. We also have a new brochure that explains the program in great detail. It's been mentioned tonight, but what's really exciting about this program is a two-year college degree going to most colleges is going to cost you $30,000 to $50,000, and you don't have to pay a penny to get your two-year college degree. Secondly, you get to continue to do the things you traditionally do in high school, homecomings, prom, playing sports, all those things. And normally it takes you 4 years to go to high school, 2 years for your first degree, that's 6 years. You can do it in Dearborn in 5. So it really is an exciting opportunity for parents, one, to save a lot of money, students to get ahead of the game. Imagine students can graduate without having those first couple of years of debts. And all the partners, other colleges we've talked about, have talked about how they'll allow students to use their freshman scholarship in year 3 or 4, so they can even have some money to help them pay for that. And I see our Henry Ford Collegiate, or Henry Ford Community College partner here. Dr. Johnson's not here, but this is a partnership between us and the college, and it wouldn't work if it wasn't for the great partnership between us and Henry Ford Community College. And really, Dearborn is unique. This is an opportunity to really do something 99% of the rest of the kids in the state don't have an opportunity to do. And it is a reason to move into, and we saw one person who did move into Dearborn because of the plan, and we know that if we get the word out there properly, we'll get more. So I certainly want to thank this board for the vision, Dr. Shankman for helping make that vision come true, and Robin for taking and running with it. This really is something to sell Dearborn, something to celebrate.
Sure. Trustee Schellis?
I just wanted to give a shout out to HFCC. The College 101 class is a course that was developed by our staff and faculty at HFCC. And I agree with you. I wish that I would have had a class like that when I first started college. It sure would have made things a lot easier instead of having to always learn things the hard way. So I'm happy to hear that it is beneficial, especially when we invest time and energy into something. So that's good to hear. But kudos to HFCC and them trying to help our students be successful right out of the gate.
And our own Abe Masher, I think, is one of the 2 teachers that teaches the class. Yeah, 2 of the 3 sections.
Great.
Excellent.
So we have a great product, and thank you, Ms. Muhammad, for helping marketing. But where we need to advertise this program is in the middle schools. We can't wait for the students to get to the 10th graders.
And that's what we do.
We need to reach out to them, 6th graders, 7th graders, tell them to get ready to have the right scores.
To create the expectation.
Exactly, right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to the students, thank you to the parents. Go right ahead.
I would be remiss without mentioning this as well. Last year, when we promoted the program, we did know that it was accepted by the schools across the state as far as transferability. But we went a step ahead and worked with specific schools, University of Michigan, Michigan State, to make sure that these programs are transferable. And I must say now that we are 100%, we have the commitment from those schools that our credits will transfer. And we knew that last year, there were some things in the works, but we didn't have quite that in place. But the state of Michigan helped us a little bit with that, with transferability. So I want to also mention that some of these parents came into the program not being sure that those credits would transfer to some of those schools, and now we are committed to making sure that those credits are.
And we knew that transferred to every school.
Yes.
Except the question was really U of M and maybe MSU, and that's been worked out. But all the other schools we knew going in.
We knew that going in,
would accept
yes.
the transfer.
So that's even better news.
Thank you. Trustee Lane?
So when will we have our first graduates from this program, and when will we see these young folks coming back to tell us what good things they're going on to?
Well, all of the students in the program right now are high school juniors, so they'll complete their senior year and then their 13th year. And then we'll see them after that.
2 more years.
2 more years after this.
They can still come back after a year and tell us.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure they will.
Come back.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you to our parents and students who gave up their time to come here tonight. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. You're welcome to, but you don't have to stay. Thank you, guys.
Next item, please.
Next item, action items, special consideration of an action item. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If so, we will exclude them from the motion below.
I believe we have number 9, closed session.
Yes, and I didn't know if we should pull number 8 just to have a roll call vote, or is that something that is acceptable as a general motion?
You can do a roll call vote.
Roll call's fine.
Yeah, roll call vote's fine. The resolution, we don't need a roll call vote. Number 7? I'm not sure, I'm asking.
Oh, that one I don't think we do.
No.
We don't? Okay.
I don't think so.
So it's 8 and 9. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes, President Berry, I'm not sure about this, but I thought Dr. Jensen also mentioned that during the closed meeting that he might want to discuss a grievance by 1650. As of right now, we are only going to be discussing
You are
the
correct.
collective bargaining agreement.
You are correct, yes.
And I think that we should probably add,
I believe it's D.
pardon me?
I think it's D.
Section
D.
Section 8D of the Michigan Open Meetings
Is D personnel?
I'm not sure.
Or is it E?
I'm not sure, but I think that if we
yeah,
just
as long as you
indicate that it's
mention
that we may be discussing also a grievance that's been filed by 1650, that, that would be broad enough to cover,
As long as we add it in, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Thank you.
We do need a roll call on number 7.
We do? Okay. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
All set?
Yes.
Move that action items numbered 1 through 6 and 10 be approved as recommended in this agenda.
so moved.
Support?
We have a motion support. Any questions? If there is no objection, the motion will be adopted. That's the summary.
Summary of agenda items. 1, approval of warrants which are listed for payment by the district and have been reviewed by the administration. Number 2 through 5, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P12. Number 6, approval of financial statements. Number 10, approval of donations.
Thank you.
And I
Should
will
we visit number
return to
7?
number 7. Approval of resolution of the district compliance with Michigan Department of Education Best Practices Initiative Board Report 13-117. Recommended action, do I need to do the background?
Yes. No, just recommend.
Recommended action, move that Board Report 13-117, Best Practice Incentive Resolution be approved.
So moved.
Support?
We have a motion support. Any questions, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Shellis, yes. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes.
President Barry?
Yes.
Number 8, approval of date for hold harmless renewal, non-homestead millage renewal. Recommended action, move that the Board of Education seek voter approval for the renewal of the district's A, 18 million of voted operating millage, and B, 6.17 mils of voted hold harmless millage, each for a period of 10 years by placing each millage proposal on the ballot of the regular election on November 4th, 2014.
So moved.
We have a motion support. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Shellis, yes. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes.
President Barry?
Yes.
Calling for an HFCC executive session closed. I had a Miranda moment. Recommended action, move that a special meeting closed be held on Monday, March 17, 2014, at 6 p.m. at the Henry Ford Community College in the Andrew A. Mazzara Administrative Service and Conference Center President's Conference Room. The purpose of the special meeting is to discuss negotiations of collecting bargaining unit per Section 8C and a potential personnel issue, which I believe is 8D, but am willing to change if I need to.
Okay.
Of
And
the
a possible
Michigan
agreement.
Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Support.
We have motion support. Any comments? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Shellis? Yes. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes.
President Barry?
Yes. Next item, please.
Next item, discussion items, advertising update, Mr. Brian Whiston, Mr. David Mustonen.
David, come forward and give a quick update on where we're heading on advertising. David?
We rolling in the dough?
Oh, boy.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Good evening, board members, President Barry, Superintendent Whiston. Just a very brief update. You know, we have been moving very slowly and cautiously this year on this because it does involve, one, a lot of people are involved. A lot of people are concerned about how we move on this just for a number of reasons. One, for how the advertising is presented in our schools, how it impacts our students, the types of advertising that we're going to have. And also, too, there are a lot of interest groups out there who, you know, want to be part of it and want to take part in the profit part of it. And we want to be sensitive to all of those needs, and we want to make sure that everyone's involved in that. And so that's why we've been proceeding very cautiously. Also, the first semester, we've also been looking at some other alternative ways of partnering with people to generate this advertising revenue and to implement an advertising program. And I think at this point in time we have, after kind of reviewing some of those different possibilities, I think Superintendent Whiston shared with the board one of the possibilities that came forward. I think at this point in time we're ready to move forward with bringing the advertising plan to fruition on our own, using district staff, using current personnel, and also I've explored the option, and we're looking at adding a part-time contracted person in the communications office. This person would mostly be responsible for taking some of the responsibilities that fall under my current position, freeing up some of my time to pursue some more of these advertising possibilities throughout the district. So that's kind of where we are with this plan. We would hope that by next fall, you will see some of these advertising things starting to pop up. I still think that it is best to move slowly and on a small scale rather than try to launch some big overwhelming kind of plan that will put people, might kind of bring people back a little bit and catch them off guard. We don't want to do that. So I think by implementing the plan slowly and on a small scale and ramping up from there will give us a good indication of where we want to be with this advertising program. And that's pretty much where we are right now.
Okay.
Any questions or anything?
Any questions?
More than
Mr.
happy.
Guido?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
An old fraternity brother of mine that graduated from Melvindale High happened to send me a scan of an old football program, 1964, between Lincoln Park and Melvindale, and Coca-Cola was advertising on the program itself. So I think
This isn't new.
What's that?
Yeah, it's not new.
It goes back to 64. I mean, it was right on the program. I was surprised when I saw that. So, I mean, we've been doing that successfully, I think, for a long time. So I don't think there's anything wrong with us moving in this direction.
Sure. That's why I asked.
I just found it kind of interesting.
Good timing,
64,
too.
I was just
Yeah.
a young kid back then.
And are you
There were school
drinking
board members that
Cola-Cola
weren't
now?
born.
That's why I asked Mr. Whiston to give us a brief update on this. We are moving in that direction. A couple of my colleagues asked, and just wanted to reassure everybody we are moving in that direction. And I agree, we should move slowly, but we probably need to get this going, so.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that moving slowly but deliberately, and at least in a forward momentum, is a good idea. And I think that it's important that we look at our cost to advertising as well. You know, there's so many different areas that we could look at, that we could advertise. You know, the first thing that everybody talks about is on the football field, you know, banners around the football field. There's an upfront cost to that. You know, whereas if you're talking about advertising on the screen, you know, during halftime or whatever, that has very minimal cost. And so I think that having a district-wide system is the safest way for us to go. We need to make sure that we don't create competition between the schools. That's one thing that I'm very cautious of and very concerned about is that when you put money into the mix, it creates a lot of other problems, you know, and so having an even playing field, so to speak, is the only way that we can do that.
I think that we want to be able to open up opportunities to individual schools, but I think that the district needs to be the clearinghouse and needs to be, you know, I don't want to be in competition
Well, we need to make sure
between
that
school to school.
where the monies are supposed to go
that's
is
correct.
where the money actually goes, and the only way we know that is if we're the ones dispensing it.
That's correct. And when you talk about expanding, you know, as you said, beyond just banners around a football field, the latest idea that's been out there that schools across the country are doing is something that goes along the lines of, please stand by for an important message from the Dearborn Public Schools. The following snow closure announcement is brought to you by Weingarts. Weingarts, the home of the best snowmobiles and best snow throwers.
Snow days.
And so your actual robocall snow day messages are being
Great, because
sponsored.
they need to be longer.
And so that's just, when you talk about creatively looking at where you can advertise, that is one place that a lot of school districts are moving in, and their robocalls are actually sponsored. So
Do we have text message capability, or is it just robocall?
robocall and email. The text message function is there, but is not operational.
That's probably something we should.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
Are you reading his face? Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Trustee Lane.
Well, I would like to throw a little bit of a wet towel into the mix because I personally, while I recognize that we need every dollar we can get, I do appreciate children, young children, and even middle-aged children not having to put on a barrier against being advertised every minute of the day. I don't want to see a sign that says, "Reading brought to you by Coca-Cola." There are some things that we do for the public good, and it's the public dollar that does that. So we don't have books that are sponsored by Scholastic or anybody else.
But it
We
would
do
be
some of
nice.
these things. Well, it'd be nice to get some of their money, but on the other hand, there needs to be a space in our life that's not everything is for sale. So let's not go to the, I know we won't go to that extent, but I believe, and I know that there are some other people that believe that at least a part of childhood should be reserved for not a sales pitch. And that part should be maybe church if you go there, mosque, whatever, and it's school, in my opinion, as well. After school, that's a different matter, and we can't avoid it. We're living in a capitalist system, but not everything is for sale.
I think that's what Mr. Mustin meant by we're moving slowly, because those are
Right.
the discussions on the table, and they were at actually the original meeting we had. We had discussed that. Anybody else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I don't know if it's just a coincidence, but the last time I was up here was also on March 10th, which is the day before my mother's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday to your mother.
Speaking of.
Did we get a paid for on that?
Next time charging for you.
Yes.
Next item.
Yeah, how much did that advertising cost? Acknowledgement of correspondence.
We have a couple of invitations from the city. I know the last one that I just read, I'm going to be out of town, so I'm not able to attend, and I was not able to attend the big read, but we do have some correspondence from the city of Dearborn, so thank you for the invitations.
I think one is the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's some sports coming up, and but I do appreciate when we get invitations from schools also, and that's why I'm going to be going to River Oaks for March's Reading Month. I've got my book already.
What grade?
Yeah.
What grade?
Fifth grade.
Fifth
It's
grade,
supposed
okay.
to be one of the best classes in Dearborn schools, so.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
Looking
Trustee
forward.
McDonald?
As long as we're talking about March's Reading Month, I just have to give a little shout out to my son Corey, who is a freshman at Etzel. He went with me. Since they had testing in the higher grades, he had a day off of school last week, and he went with me to read to one of his former first grade teachers' classes over at McCullough. So I was very proud of him for spending his day off doing that. And it is fun. The kids really enjoy it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Next item.
Board of Education business, board member committee and organization reports. I don't know that we've had any.
We haven't had any.
I would like to schedule a meeting between Joe and I and Trustee Shellis for the evaluation, superintendent evaluation. And I will share, I'll let Dr. Maleko know too. I'd like to set it up before our next meeting, if that's okay?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Next item.
Board member commentary.
I think we're all set in that department. Next item.
Request for information and/or future agenda items.
Trustee Lane?
I will be out of town on the 24th, so I regret to inform you I won't be here.
With a smile on your face.
Yeah, I am going to have some fun.
Enjoy. Yes.
Speaking of that, do we need to look at changing the April 7th board meeting? There's a meeting that night, isn't there? And I won't be here.
I think it's 14th, 21st, and
14th.
Is the 7th the
14th,
first?
21st, and 28th, I think.
The 7th.
The 7th is the first Monday of the month? Oh, yeah, the 7th would be the first Monday of the month. Oh, so it works out excellent.
Okay.
I was thinking, we're all not going to be
Yeah.
here.
April 7th is the first Monday.
Yep, we're all set.
So no meeting for you.
Yay.
Okay. Anything else? Next item, please.
Superintendent's report.
So again, if any parent of a middle school student or a high school 9th, 10th grader wants to find out how they can get 2 free years of college, please contact the superintendent's office at the school district here, and we'll get you that information. Secondly, it's getting to be that time of year where scholarships, you apply for scholarships. We have another poster that will be going up in all the schools that list some of the scholarships that are out there and encourages people to apply for them. These are 5,000, there's several on here, anywhere from 500, 750, 1,000, 5,000. A couple on here for 5,000 that you have to just write a couple paragraphs, and you have a chance to get $5,000 for college education. And you'd be surprised how few people apply for these. So you really do have a great opportunity. Please, high school, juniors, seniors, see your counselors and see what scholarships are available out there. Help your parents, help yourself out by applying for these scholarships. Thank you.
Trustee Lane?
Superintendent Whiston prompts me to comment that even for less than $5,000, your parents will help you out if you apply for scholarships for a couple $100.
Yes, sure.
And I
Everything
do
else.
know for a fact that sometimes there is almost no one applying for some of these scholarships. A couple $100 will buy you your books for a semester of college, and you need to be applying for those as well. But Superintendent Wisted, I'd like to ask if the video that we saw tonight will be on the website for people to look at.
Yeah, we have a different version that explains the
Oh,
process
okay.
with
All right.
students and that.
Saw a brief
Okay.
clip from a longer version that's being put together that will be part of the website. We also shot a video that had just the superintendent and Dr. Shankman talking about the program that we're going directly just to staff tomorrow, following up tonight's board meeting and the presentation by the board. So we've got a couple different videos that will be going out there.
And on YouTube.
Okay.
That's right. That video of the superintendent and Dr. Shankman, that one is also on the district's YouTube channel as well.
That's probably getting tons of hits.
Oh, hits. Tons of hits.
It's going to go viral.
I just wanted to mention, you said earlier that you would have these placed in the schools and other businesses and stuff. Don't forget our local libraries. I think that's a good place to put them.
Good point.
And Starbucks.
Yeah.
No other?
No other? Next item?
Future meeting dates, Monday, March 17, 2014, HFCC Executive Session, closed negotiations, 6 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzaros Service and Conference Center in the President's Conference Room, Henry Ford Community College. Monday, March 17, 2014, HFCC meeting, 7 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzaros Service and Conference Center in the Roseno Boardroom, Henry Ford Community College. Monday, March 24, 2014, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, April 14, 2014, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, April 21, 2014, HFCC meeting, 7 p.m. at the Andrew Mazzaros Service and Conference Center in the Roseno Boardroom, Henry Ford Community College.
Unless I hear an objection, we are adjourned.